In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to calculate the points for your migration purposes. So this could be the start. So what you need to do is go into australiandreamlife.com. So that is the website. So in there, if you go a bit below, there's immigration points calculator. You can click on that and it will take you to a different page. So in there, what you need to do is you need to input the basic information. So as I told you before, you need to check, whether you are qualified into skilled independent occupation list, or whether you can fall into consolidated sponsored occupation list, which is COSL, that is employer sponsored, which is additional. So if you do not know, you can click one of these and it will take you to a different page in the immigration site. So in there you can see this year's current skilled occupation list. So this is starting from 1st of July 2016, and next year it will get updated from 1st of July 2017. So just like that, these categories has been taken out, occupations removed from SOL from 1st of July, mining engineers, petroleum engineers as such. And in this list, if you fall into any of these categories, you will get additional points and you will be recognized for Australian migration purposes. So you can apply for migration purposes with this list. So as long as your educational qualification and your experience falls into these one of these categories, you will get the highest points and you will be accepted into it. And as you can see, this is the assessing authority. Let's say you are an accountant general, either CPA, CA or IPA would be your assessing authority. If you click on one of these, it will take you to the site and it will tell you exactly what qualifications they recognized in that specific area of work. So let's go back into the points calculator. In here, let's assume you are going for a skilled independent visa subclass 189. So if you select that, it doesn't give you any points. So I mean, even though you are applying on that, it doesn't give you additional points. But if you have an employer sponsor, so somebody is sponsoring you, so then you will fall into the consolidated sponsored occupation list, which is on top of the skilled occupation list. These categories are included as well. So you can click on that and it will open up the COSL list, sorry, CSOL list. So in that you can basically get the categories which falls in additional on top of the SOL list. So, and if you are in that category, so you have an employment sponsor, so you will get 5 points. So that's how the point system works. And if you are going for a regional area, so if you're going to be working, let's assume in Darwin or further out from Melbourne, in Victoria, like regional areas, you will get additional points as well, which will be 10 points. So in this example, let's say you are going for a skilled independent visa, which just a basic in the qualification category of SOL list, one of these categories, and go back in. So, and that's 0 points in that category. And let's calculate the points for your age. So let's assume you're under 18, you get 0 points. But if you're 18 to 24, you get 25 points. If you're 25 to 32, you get 30 points. If you're 33 to 39, 25 points. So it starts reducing back again. So from 40 to 44, it's 15 again. And from 45 to 49, there's no points. So if you are above 50, then you are not eligible to apply for independent skill subclass visa. So just make sure you are in one of these age categories. In here, let's just assume the person is 31 or 32 years old. So you tick that, you get 30 points. All right. And your English, so depending on your English level, you'll get highest points. Competent English means if you hold a UK, USA, Ireland, Canadian or a New Zealand passport, you will basically be considered IELTS 6 plus. So you don't need to sit any exams as long as you have one of those passports. But if you do not, then basically you have to sit for IELTS, and make sure you have to get 6 points in each category. Even then you don't get any points, so that is 0 points if you get 6 in each. But if you get 7, so which is proficient English, 7 in each, you will get 5 points. But if you have superior English, which is 8 plus, in each category, not just in you get 9 in 2, 7.5 in 1, and the other one 8. That is not sufficient, because in each category if you get 8 plus, then you basically get 10 points. So let's assume the person applying here has proficient English, so as long as you are an accountant. So this person in this example, I'm assuming it's an accountant, 31 years old, proficient English 7 plus, you get 5 points. All right, so let's calculate the points if you have studied in Australia. So if your degree has been done in Australia, which is not a offshore or off campus one, it needs to be in Australia, full-time study for 2 years, then you get 5 points. Okay, if you have not studied, then you don't get any points. Okay, so if let's assume your studies is in Australia as well as it is in a regional area, so you have gone out to regional city in Victoria or in Darwin or Northern Territory, Brisbane, so then basically you'll get additional points if that is the case, so total of 10 points. But if you have not, then basically no. So in this scenario, let's assume the person has studied overseas, so no points. And so that is 0 points in that scenario. Let's calculate the points if you have completed a professional year. So that is for somebody who's actually studied in Australia and done a professional additional experience year working somewhere, you get 5 points. But in this scenario, the person has studied overseas, qualification is overseas, experience is overseas, so no, 0 points. And what is your highest educational qualification? So you get, if you have a PhD, you get 20 points, and if you have a bachelor's or a master's, then you get 15 points. Any other recognized trade qualification in any trade, then basically 15 points. So let's assume the person has a degree in accounting, so which basically 15 points in that scenario. And the experience is very important here. So depending on your experience, you get the highest points. If you have 8 or more years after your studies, then basically you get the highest points, which is 15 points. Let's assume the person actually has finished the studies when the person was 25 and worked for the last 5 to 6 years. Then basically now the person is 31 years old, so which is 5 years or more, then the person has got, in this example, 10 points. So this you can apply this in your scenario as well, but it needs to be, this experience needs to be after your qualification. So after you have gathered your degree, it needs to be like that. And if you have worked in Australia, so then basically you get extra points. So let's say, for an example, a person comes here to study, and then afterwards the person works in Australian firm for 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 years, then you get the additional points. So if the person has worked in Australia for 8 years or more, then the person automatically gets 20 points. So let's assume the person in this example hasn't worked in Australia, lived overseas, finished his studies as well as his work experience overseas, so no points. Okay, and the partner, so your partner needs to be under 50. The partner should have competent English, which means IELTS 7 plus in each band, and the partner can get occupational assessment in that applicable skilled occupation list of my subclass. So if all those 3 satisfies, then you can basically say yes, and that person, you'll, as a couple, you'll get additional 5 points. So in this scenario, let's assume the person husband or wife has studied in a relevant field and has experience, so in that scenario the partner gets 5 points. So are you registered in the following? So if your language, if you are a language translator, you can translate from any other language into English or English into any other language, then you can become a registered translator in NATI, which is the Australian body, National Accreditation Authority for Translators. And once you do that, basically you get additional 5 points. So if that is the case, you tick yes, or otherwise you put no. So in this scenario, we just consider no, and the total score the person has got is 65. For independent skill subclass visa, 189 is minimum pass mark is 60. So in this scenario, with these points, it should be sufficient for the person to actually put an application for intention to apply for Australian migration, and then Australian authorities will send an invite saying yes, you apply, depending on their necessities of the country, depending on the number of people they need. If they do require services, they will send you an invite. Please do put in a full application. So that is how you basically calculate your score. I hope you got an understanding. So give this a try, put this in and see how it works for you.